I think happy is a pretty low goal. I mean, first of all, there's going to be lots of times in your marriage where you are seriously not happy. And sometimes that's going to be because you're having conflict with your partner, but sometimes it's going to be because all hell's broken loose around you. And then if you judge the success of your marriage on your happiness, then the same thing happens if you judge your success in life on the basis of your happiness. What do you have when it's nothing but suffering? And that's going to be plenty of your life. And so the whole orientation of that question in that sense is wrong. What you want to have in your marriage is, I would say, first and foremost, like a scrupulous honesty. And I don't just mean that you tell each other the truth, because you can be brutal with the truth. I mean the kind of honesty that's devoted towards thriving in love, And you want to act nobly in your relationship. You want to be reliable and productive and generous and then if you're lucky, now and then, you might be happy. And you might have a clear enough conscience so that in those rare moments where you are truly happy, you can also enjoy it without guilt. And so you aim at something a lot higher than happiness, and then you welcome it if it deigns to land on you for brief moments of time. So,
one thing that I think people tend to fall prey to is that men tend to think that the things that their wife wants are the things that they would want, and women tend to think that the things their husband wants are the things that they would want. And failing to recognize that men and women are wildly different and have very different priorities leads to some pretty bad things. I have so many stories that are like, the purest example of this that I can think of is one time my wife came to me and she had some sort of problem, and I did what men do. I said, okay, so here's a bunch of solutions. Men, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I see that, Candace. So that's correct.
Is it really a bad idea?
It's a bad idea.
Because men are solution-oriented, right? If they hear a problem, men like to fix things. They like machines. They like to fix things. And so my wife presented me with the problem, and I said the natural, normal, logical thing that men do. And I said, here's a solution, and she got mad. And I realized at that point that what she didn't want was a solution. What she wanted was for me to hear her.
Yes.
To hear her. Yes, the comfort. The emotion. Even I. And so at that point, we set up a rule in my home. And the rule goes like this. When my wife comes to me with a problem, I say to her, is this a solutions problem, or is this a conversation where you want me to hear you? And my wife has been kind enough, knowing my shortcomings, to actually abide by this rule and answer the question straight, that she doesn't actually want the problem solved. One other example of this sort of disconnect, because I think the truth is that I think that what women actually want, to speak for women as I'm an expert. I could be one. It could be anything. What women predominantly want is to be heard and protected by the man that they are with. They want to be heard, and they want to be understood, and they want to be protected by the man that they are with. And because that is the best characteristic about the husband and father. And what men want is respect, food, and sex. Those are the things that men want. It isn't that difficult. We're real simple. So all you ladies are like, man's a mystery. He's not a mystery. I promise you, you provide him all three of these things, and he will be a happy camper.
One of the practices that my wife and I have that really helped us a tremendous amount more recently, when we were both recovering from very serious illnesses, is we had instituted a policy of regular dates. And probably 25 years ago, maybe longer, and that was at her impetus. I was resistant to the idea to begin with, but not for long. Yeah, and so to follow up on your comment, it's like, put in some bloody effort and get in the mood. Both of you, right? Both of you. Yeah. Because it's not, when you're exhausted with kids, when you've worked all day, and you're kind of up to here and you're tired, it's easy to drop the intimate part of your marriage to number 11 on a list of 10 priorities. And then that's just not a good long-term strategy. And so when you're an adult with adult responsibilities, You have to carve out the time, and you have to make a willful effort.
Well, there's one other thing I think is really important is, and this is advice to men in particular in marriage, and that is to stop bitching. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the same advice could go to women, but there's no point. Like, no, why? But I think you guys opened the floodgates, so I'm just jumping in. I think we've lost the sense of stoicism in men completely in marriages, and so now because we encourage men to, be very open about your emotions, and what that ends up happening is that you just like dump all of this stuff onto your wife all the time, everything that you're worrying about, everything you're thinking about, and the idea that a man would just shoulder something in silence is it's considered, offensive. No, you have to be open about your feelings.